Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to the online session series, Discover Your Worth Informational Session. My name is Mohsen Rizvi, and I'm Head of Student Recruitment and Admissions at Habib University. I and Mr. Shoaib, Head of Student Careers, will be your host for today's session. Habib University is Pakistan's preeminent liberal arts and sciences university, aiming to produce critically conscious graduates who will have a positive impact on society by educating them through programs designed to address the complex development, economic and cultural conditions of Pakistan. 𝐾𝐲's transformative undergraduate experience, student-centric approach, world-class infrastructure, an extensive global network, and professors coming from the best international institutions create an environment that encourages them to pursue their dreams, craft, and achieve. Habib University is the only truly need-blind institution which offers unparalleled financial assistance to ensure that students are not deterred from pursuing their dreams at 𝐾𝐲 and beyond. Our graduates successfully pursue careers at the best companies, acquire postgraduate education at renowned global university, and initiate beneficial entrepreneurial ventures. They have raised the bar too high with all their accomplishments and have set the benchmark that inspires others to follow their footsteps. Undergraduate education is a decisive phase in students' lives, and parents play a crucial role in the decision-making to ensure that their children are making an informed choice. Keeping their importance in mind, today's session is with some of the parents of Habib University graduates. In this session, we will hear from them about their experience of sending them to Habib University.
Thank you, Mohsen. Salam and good afternoon, everyone on the panel. It's a pleasure to be amongst you for this extremely valuable session on Habib Experience from parents' perspective. Please allow me to again introduce myself. My name is Shoaib Khan, and I head the Office of Career Services, which looks after career development of our students. With this, I would now like to introduce our esteemed panel here with us. We have Dr. Imran Khalid. Dr. Imran is the father of our student Misha Imran from SDP class of 2018 and Zarish Imran, CNT class of 2024, and is a physician by qualification. He's working as Chief Operating Officer at Hilton Pharma. Welcome to the session, sir.
Thank you very much.
We also have Ms. Naz Khan, mother of Myra Khan, a social development and policy student from the class of 2021, and is the currently is the Chief Strategy Officer of 𝐾𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐿. She has been in the leadership of significant corporations in Pakistan for over a decade. Welcome to you too, ma'am.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Lastly, we have Ms. Farzana Jamal, mother of Hiba Jamal, a computer science student from the class of 2021, is an experienced educator with almost 2 decades of association with Habib Girls School and is now serving as the principal. Ms. Jamal has always professed a sound academic background with a focus towards continuous professional growth for the staff of HES. With this, I think we can begin our first section of the question series. Mohsen, if you would like to take this on.
All right. Thank you very much, Shoaib. Thank you, panelists, for joining us today. I was briefing you that, and like my colleague briefed you about how we are going to go about this session, there are going to be different phases. So we're going to start off with the initial phase, right? So this is when your kids are about to, pass in their final year, preparing for their A2s or matriculations, intermediate education, whatever it is, right? And you're thinking about all different kinds of options that are there. And when I say all different kinds of options, I'm not just talking about institutions, I'm also talking about the kind of degree program that they need to venture into. And parents, like I said, play a very, very important role when it comes to that decision, because like I said earlier, this is a very important phase in one's life, academic life, most importantly. So my first question is, pertaining to that phase, what was your role in deciding the university for your child? So I will take this liberty here and I will request Ms. Naz to answer that first.
Right. So thank you for that, Mohsin. You're absolutely right that is an extremely important decision, going from school to college, because then that's what sets the base for you to move forward in life. And I remember thinking, I've had the privilege of a liberal arts education myself, and I remember thinking that if I could, that's one of the things that I would really want Myra to actually undergo, because the fact that you get exposure to so many different areas, and the approach for that education is so different. So when we were looking, and she was coming from grammar school, so most of the kids over there, many of them choose to go abroad, as did I, right? But she had that option. She looked at that option. We said, please look at domestic options as well, because there are good options domestically as well. And Habib University was one of those that I had come and visited a couple of times, and I had spent some time with Mr. Basif Rizvi as well. He took us through, and I really liked the curriculum that they offered and the kind of faculty that they had. And the best part was, while I had seen that I had had a liberal arts education abroad, but it was not focused towards the local context. What they were offering was also focused in terms of the local cultural context. And I thought that was really a very, very unique kind of offering. So we really pushed Myra, that we said, why don't you consider this option? She saw it, she liked it. And we were thrilled when she eventually chose between foreign universities and local universities, getting into both, and she chose to go to Habib University. So we were very, very happy with that.
Oh, thank you. Just the kind of answer I was looking for. Just kidding. So I'm going to move on.
Let me just check the script, right?
How were you? What was your role when we were? When your daughter was in that position where this transition was happening?
Hiba actually started off in school, and this is generally the situation for most of the girls in Karachi. The 14 years that Hiba spent in a school was in one school. And for us, the choice of university was very, very important. First of all, it had to be her choice. Secondly, because of her discipline, computer science, the choices were always very limited. Before Habib University, there was only one choice for her, and she had appeared for an aptitude test there. She had cleared it. She'd gotten admission there as well. The decision for Habib was actually not a very difficult one. My association with Habib Girls' School had allowed me to know more about the university than any other mother with a daughter or a son applying for higher education in computer studies. But I didn't want to impose myself. She somehow, the buzz about Habib University is such that you really don't have to market your students. What the environment there, from the first batch, the word was out. So Hiba was already hooked up on the idea, and her friends as well, that I am a very good student. But this particular decision, I guess, I prayed that she would choose Habib University. I had hoped that she would get into Habib University, and that is what happened. Because apart from the fact that Habib Girls' School provides a holistic education, but still, as far as the university life is concerned, and I would agree with Naz here, our own experiences as students, whether college or university, had an impact on the kind of choices that our children are going to make. So we had these conversations at home as to what will be the reason why the child is going to choose Habib University. As far as computer studies are concerned, we didn't know a lot about the graduates then. But what I knew and what she found out was about the faculty. And that is the exposure that she definitely wanted, that I definitely wanted her to have. And with this promise of a very open-minded and a very accepting university where voices are accepted and heard, because that's what we had heard. There was no other choice, and alhamdulillah, she got into Habib University.
Why am I going mute? Fantastic. So, Dr. Khalid, I purposely wanted you to be the last one to answer this, because not only did you send your elder daughter here, but the younger one is here as well. And I can tell you for a fact that Misha is a fantastic professional, because I have this, I got this opportunity to work with her. So over to you, sir.
Okay. Obviously, that is the time when you, as a parent, for me and my wife, it was a rather difficult time to select the, we are all coming from a traditional mindset where the parents usually play a role in the career pathways of their kids and this track they want to, they should work. So if they career paths on their own, obviously, frankly speaking, at that time, my eldest daughter, Misha, she was herself not clear where she wanted to do, what she wanted to do in her, as far as the future career track is concerned. Meanwhile, luckily, fortunately, at that time, that was a period when the first batch or the inaugural session of Habib University was announced for the admissions, and like this one. And that's how actually this idea came to us. Okay, let us to go to some kind of a liberal arts education program and let her do that graduation there. And later on, then she will decide what she wants to do in the future. Because I knew that I had an orientation with the liberal arts education system too. I had never an opportunity to actually witness it in Pakistan and any other institute. But my idea was to let her first go to liberal arts, get it at Habib, and then later on after graduation, she will be in a position to herself decide what she wants to do in the life. And I have no regret, happy. The way Misha has conducted herself and the way as a human being she has grown up as. Her development as a human being is tremendous. That's what I feel one of the most phenomenal impact on her personality that I see, which Habib has actually done on her. Frankly speaking, it was just, I still remember one incident. She had just joined Habib, a month had just passed, and I just future plans after this and what she want to be. And her answer was, that answer actually surprised me, frankly speaking. And her answer was that, I want to be a good human being out of this. Once I graduate, it will be my ultimate objective. And later on, when I saw all her formative, all those phases throughout her undergraduate activity. And that positive transformation is also influenced me and her younger sister. She also joined Habib later on. So I feel whatever my other parents were saying exactly, I will definitely validate whatever they are saying exactly the same. But I personally feel that I have the privilege of having two daughters being the student of Habib University.
Thank you, Dr. Zad. Thank you. So coming back to Ms. Jamal, you did mention, your association with Habib School, and you've been in academia for quite a while. But, Habib was a young institution back then. Liberal arts and sciences education was a very alien concept back then. Then when Habib came in, obviously a lot of other institutions, followed, and they were like, this is what we need to do. And this is what the need of the hour is, because, the world is evolving rapidly, there's new things coming in, no discipline can survive on its own. So it's a very closely knit fabric, and this is how we are supposed to go about training our students. Yet, coming back to where I was, young institution, no alumni, nothing, and not a lot of people knew about it. So you ended up sending your daughter here. So were there any apprehensions about it? Any second thoughts,
I don't know how it's going to sound when I say this. It's a risk at any university in Pakistan that we do. Doesn't matter how old the university is, doesn't matter how recently the university has come into being. It's a risk. It's a risk, most importantly, related to the mindsets of the students and the teachers that the child is going to be surrounded with. And as I said, maybe I had that advantage, but my child was very sure. I had met Wasif Saab just once, and I was just sure that this is the right place because of what he said, because of what the basic core belief system of the university is. You are an institution of excellence also because of the faculty that you have. But in spite of everything, in spite of having this amazing liberal core curriculum, your belief is based on values, personality, you're shaping the future through individuals. So I guess being a part of the education system and being a mother, most importantly, my biggest aspiration was to get her into an environment where she is allowed to think on her own. And even then, yes, the university had just came into being some few years back, but I was very sure that this is the right place because of this belief system. And I knew no matter where my daughter ended up, she will have to go through this struggle and this phase where she has to find out on her own as to who she is and how she connects to the world. Studies will come along. She will acquire her degree, that I was very sure of. But what I was more concerned was how she's going to acquire it, what kind of a person she's going to eventually turn out into. And my decision turned out to be, our decision, my daughter and my decision turned out to be the right one, because the conviction of her beliefs is one thing that I see her as changing in her distinctly. She was very sure of herself when she joined Habib University, but how sure she is of herself now is unbelievable. And that is what your liberal core and your emphasis on personality development and the conviction that you give your students, that is what has turned her out into who she is right now.
Thank you. Ms. Khan, same question, but with a little twist as well. Earlier you mentioned, there's a certain trend that a lot of schools follow. There's a lot of kids opting for foreign universities, trying to get into university abroad. And at times, they're even going for universities in Turkey, Malaysia, and so on and so forth. Now, you had all those options there, and then you had a local university, and then a liberal arts university on top of that, right? Any second thoughts when you were, or any apprehensions or any fear factor, whatever, you had when you were sending your daughter here?
No, not really. And there's I have to say there's a lot to be said for universities abroad as well, right? I think there's a different facet when you travel abroad, you live by yourself. So there's a lot of that as well, an interaction with different cultures. So there's a lot there as well. But I think especially in Myra's case, we also felt that either if you know clearly that this is what I want to do, and this is the best university or the top 5 university for it, and therefore I'm going here, all right, that's fine. But if you're not sure and you want to explore and you want to see, then, frankly, as parents, we thought that it's a lot of money to spend, on an undergraduate education if you don't have that clarity either. And at this age, at the age of 18, to have that clarity for many kids is not there. There are many that will say, I want to do medicine or I want to do this, but several of them don't know, or some of them, even when they say that they want to do this, it's because they may not have had exposure to anything else either. So, so that's why we thought that to spend that kind of money, even with financial aid, etc., we felt that it was much better spent here. If you're getting a similar kind of education, you're getting a similar curriculum, you're getting it tapered to the local context, you're getting international faculty, you're getting the opportunity to actually study abroad, because Habib University has a summer program with some of the best universities in the US. So you have that as well. So, you know, then we just thought that the best thing, and Myra understood completely also. She said, no, it makes more sense for me to be here. And once I'm clear, then I can always go abroad for my master's if I don't have that, when I know exactly what is the area that I want to be in. And then when she joined here, she decided social development and policy was what she wanted to do. And, you know, I think she's had a fantastic experience throughout. So no regrets on that count as well. I mean, honestly, even in terms of if you just see what you end up spending in a 4-year education abroad versus what you spend here, if you're getting a similar education, honestly, I think it's a no-brainer.
So before I move on to Dr. Khalid, I just want to build on what you just said. Same quality education right here at your doorstep. Yet you see a lot of people trying to go abroad. And many times they're not even sure why they're going. Being a mother, what factors are there, you know, pushing them to take that decision? Just for.
I think what helped was that I myself had studied abroad. And to be honest, I think that helped, because I think seeing what was being offered here, I could see that it was very similar to what I was getting abroad. So therefore, it was an easier decision. I think for a lot of parents, it may or may not be the case. I'm not sure, but so that's one thing. You feel that the education system abroad is better. So I think universities here, need to gain that credibility, because we have seen, sadly, the education system here fall away. There are several good universities, but I think they need, for the population this size, there just need to be so many more. So I think that credibility, that you are really going to get that education that you get abroad. I think the other thing is, for many of the children as well, it's a little bit of a peer pressure as well, when everyone is going and you want to go as well, because that's how those people come back and they do well, or they stay abroad and they do well. So I think some of it is also peer pressure. So I think over there, for many parents, it many times becomes difficult as well to get the children to stay back here. So I think that's what helped us, at least knowing what was offered abroad and seeing the same thing over here. And then I think, like Ms. Jamal said, I think there's a little bit of leap of faith as well. So you have to be willing to take that little bit of leap of faith as well.
I believe you went abroad because Habib wasn't there yet.
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Khan. Dr. Khalid, so going back to that phase, I'm going to talk about your first daughter. Obviously, all those apprehensions were gone. The reasons you ended up sending your second daughter as well. So when you were sending Misha and, to universities, when you were there in that phase, and, you decided, all right, fair enough, Habib University is the final call. Do you have any apprehensions about it, second thoughts?
Yes, Mohsin, frankly speaking, I did have certain apprehensions about Habib at that time, and particularly when liberal arts, though, just looking around in your society, in your culture, sometimes it is even considered to be kind of taboo, and there are a lot of myths surrounding this word when you say the liberal arts. And being parents, me and my wife had certain apprehensions, particularly when you talk about university and when you talk about university which is the liberal arts university, obviously your apprehensions are doubled. But frankly speaking, it all turned out to be the other way around. We were positively surprised to look at the personal growth of Michelle. I would say that the all-round approach, the teaching approach, which is being adopted by Habib University, has made Misha more confident, self-empowered, and what we call, when we talk about, and what you in general terms say that I could see a professional in the budding when she was undergraduate here at Habib, and later on obviously she has turned out to be a very good professional, and all those apprehensions about her were actually proven wrong. Yes, I had.
Great. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. It was great learning, from each one of you, what influenced you in deciding Habib University for your child. With this, we come to our second section of this session, in which we will shed some light on Habib experience from a parent's perspective. Now, speaking about transformation, how has been the transformation for you to see your kids growing up in these 4 years? Ms. Naz, I can start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
So I think I've seen Myra develop into a very confident young lady. So the confidence, I think what a liberal arts education does is it, most importantly, it teaches you critical, analytical thinking skills. And that's what is really important. So it doesn't matter what the subject is, right? And I think your ability to learn and to absorb and to analyze. These are skills that are universal. So I think that's the most important thing, and that's what I found. That she learned. I think she learned empathy. When she came into Habib, I think there was in terms of the student body, it was a very diverse student body. So there was just knowing people from different social stratas, so I think different backgrounds. That in itself is an awakening for many of the children. So I think that's another thing that I saw sort of a transformation there. So yes, I think very it was very pleasant to see her change in that way. And there's something else about a liberal arts education, which I think Dr. Imran Khalid was mentioning too. You talk about being a good human being. It's somehow it's your inner self that it works on, right? You have this desire to change the world or to do the right things, or to do the good things. So you get a lot of that sense of, feeling with these kids that graduate. And I saw that in Myra as well. So yes, so very happy to see all those changes.
I'm sure. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Mr. Zana, would you like to add something to it?
I actually second everything that Ms. Khan has said. Liberal education, or the liberal core of Habib's curriculum, it could have been a mantra. It could just have been something that you talk about. But how I saw that transforming my child, I mentioned that her conviction in what her beliefs were, what she would talk about. The conversations that I had with her when she was in high school, as compared to the conversations that I have with her now. And we are a home environment where we talk about politics, we talk about religion, we talk about your likes and dislikes, about people as well, generally. The transformation that I've seen is the conviction with which she can put forward her beliefs, and what she believes in, she will prove it to you. That has been possible through not just through sheer arguments. She will have some background to enhance and reinforce her conviction. And that has actually come through the extensive reading that she was required to go through. I mean, where else do you expect? I mean, when she shared that she had to study 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢 as a computer studies student, jaws dropped. Why? Why 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢 now? And then you sit down and talk about topics like, I mean, literature, philosophy, and the problem of virtue. Just understand that this title here. I myself am a literature graduate. And when I teach literature, students of literature, I keep telling them that there's this triangle of literature, philosophy, and what your self-belief is about who you are, personalities. What she was studying, the discussions that she was having at the university was amazing. I've studied from Karachi University, even though it's been a long time back, but I know recent graduates from Karachi University as well. They have not got that exposure. It was amazing. The transformation, as I said earlier, her degree, as far as her undergrad degree of computer science, she would have gotten there from anywhere. But what she got from Habib University is what she would not have gotten anywhere else. This ability, she knew, maybe Ammi would not understand, but my professor would. Maybe Ammi would say, okay, now you have to stop. But my professor would say, okay, go on, explore. That confidence is what you need in the youngsters and the leaders of tomorrow. That is how you train your leaders for tomorrow. And Alhamdulillah, I do see, inshallah, I don't know whether in 20 years we'll be having the same conversation here. I hope we do, so that then I can share and Ms. Khan can share where our daughters are then. I'm sure they have wonderful futures. And big part of that is because of Habib University.
Yes, I think we're all very confident that, we're seeing a lot of very confident and informed individuals who will definitely make their marks in the future. Ms. Sumaila Naqvi, she's the mother of Nida Zahra, Gule Sayyeda, and Maryam Fatima, as she mentioned, from the class of 2019. And she has worked for Dawn newspaper for almost 25 years. In addition to working in various departments in the editorial section, she also wrote articles on social issues, women's issues, investigative reports on civic issues, and the arts, especially theatre, culture, and music. I'll continue with the question that I've asked, our two panelists. How has been, how have you witnessed your child's transformation growing up in these 4 years? How has the experience been for you?
Well, Joy, one of the biggest points that I would like to make over here, and please bear with my voice. I'm sorry, it's not the best.
It's pretty clear. Don't worry about it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Is that, all these years, the years that children go to schools, in Pakistan especially, is a deep lack of reasoning, to reason things out, to think about them, to analyze what is the background of a situation. How does it develop? We only think about, jo samne nazar aa raha hai, something that is at the front, but we don't think about why it happened, how it happened. And that kind of training, I'm sorry, we haven't ever, we don't emphasize it in our academia, and even teachers, they just want to, sort of teach something and just, do the class of 1 hour and just, do away with. And that is one thing that Habib University really contributed to in my daughter's life. I have triplets, and all 3 of them, I wasn't very sure about Habib University right at the beginning, because it was, they would have been the second batch, the girls. And social development and policy, wonderful subject. It goes to my heart because I'm a journalist and I've written on social issues and development and everything. But I really didn't know how it's going to pan, because yes, we have a lot of good universities in Pakistan, but how Habib University is going to do their bit it was difficult to say because there was no background. And the girls, they convinced their father, my husband, that no, let's go and just give a test and let's see what happens. And they gave a test over there. And then they decided to go to IB also and give a test there because both of us, my husband and I, were a bit jittery. Just give it a try, go and give a test over there. And the difference between the tests was, the thing is, Habib University is, if they, take glory in the fact that they're teaching liberal arts, then that has to be the main thing, and not just math. And IBA had a lot of maths and very little bit of social sciences in the test. So as all three of them were, hell bent upon, going to Habib University and also convincing me, the parents, just let it be and you will see it will be a good experience. It turned out to be that way. So the takeaway here is reasoning, to reason out things and to think about it. And reason doesn't come from, let's think about whether this play was a good play or not. It's not just that. You need to have a whole background to it. And that is where Habib University has truly contributed in my daughter's lives by thinking about things and coming up with very viable and logical solutions. Something that I'm very sorry, I shouldn't be biased, and I will be biased over here, but I shouldn't be as a journalist. But I saw that in Habib University's kids. I couldn't see it in other students of other universities because it's just a very a tailor-made kind of thing for the job market. But unfortunately enough, we need to think out of the box. And thank God Habib University was thinking out of the box to teach their kids.
So if I could just add, I think there were some interesting points that you raised. One had to do with, for example, social sciences. So, I think just people over here in Pakistan, number one, appreciating what a liberal arts education is, which Dr. Imran Khalid mentioned too. The minute you use the word liberal, that in itself, raises eyebrows. And then arts, they don't realize that arts is not just arts, right? I mean, there's also computer science in there and there's engineering in there. And so I think the concept of a liberal arts education, people don't know. Then social sciences, giving importance to social sciences, which are now, they're really very, very critical. So people here know, we're coming from the same, whether it's medicine or whether it's, MBA is now accepted with an MBA. So those typical professions, the world has changed. But then that also means that society at large needs to understand, the employers need to understand, because how do you take in a social sciences individual? You would probably take in someone who can do the Excel sheet and who's done an MBA because you know that they know this. But that's not what the world is like. In fact, in countries abroad, if you went even for investment banking or you went for any of these kinds of professions on Wall Street as well, they look for history majors, they look for literature majors,
That's
philosophy majors. Why?
Yeah.
Because what you want is real life problems involve, number one, diversity of thinking. You don't want people thinking the same way with the same, training. There's different kinds of approaches, and you want people, like you said, people who can reason, people who can think critically and analyze and break down a problem and solve it. So they look for people with diverse thinking. So I think just all of that, so it's all very important, and I think HU does, so it's doing that. But I think we need to have that out there a lot more, where employers understand that, because it's so much easier for everyone to just take in people who've either done their MBA and their engineering.
I think you're very right in what you're saying. This was our concern also, when the girls, grow out of Habib University, will they get a job? Because the job market is not used to Habib University. They don't know what Habib University is about. And I remember one of the first orientations when that the kids have right at the very beginning, when they got admission, and there's an orientation by Mr. Wasif Rizvi. And there was a gentleman over there who was heading the science department, right? And he said, this was, I think, Dr. 𝐘𝐲𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨𝐫𝐿𝐬 was there at the time. And he said, we do not want to, engineering, I'm sorry, he was heading the engineering. And I remember him saying that we don't want to, manufacture engineers only. We want them to think, and we also want them to have a communication, a proper communication where they can, they can make a good presentation of their idea. So it's all about ideas and how to present your idea.
That's right.
So I remember my daughters used to, in the beginning when there were a lot of presentations, they used to say, Amma, there's too many, presentations. We have to, this is, I don't know if it makes sense or not. And now I realize even in their jobs and, anywhere else, they have the confidence to talk about their ideas, and they also know what they're talking about. Frankly, when I was their age, I didn't know much what I was talking. I used to just talk. And I wasn't very, because we were these fiery kind of journalists where we would just sit and we would talk about activism and everything. But then we would realize, we probably go a bit too far. It wasn't making sense. But these kids know, and thanks to Habib University, that liberal arts, as Ms. Naz says, is she so rightly put said that it's very important for us to think liberally now. We're heading towards disaster if we don't think liberally. And thanks to Habib University, they're doing their bit so well.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Sumaira and Ms. Naz, again for sharing your thoughts. I've been very fortunate to have worked on a position that focuses on student career development, working with our brilliant student body during the last 2 years, meeting a diversified range of students right from the point they step into the university as freshmen, having dreamy aspirations about what they would like to do in their career, and eventually seeing them becoming such informed and talented individuals. Adapting extremely diversified careers have been a true testament of their potential and well-rounded educational experience. We've seen very tough times in the last 2 years, with COVID hitting us, with this uncertainty of, what I would do, or what how an average student would think of their career and would be, concerned. But we've seen really amazing stories coming out of, of our students' career. Even in the last 2 years, when the pandemic hit us, we've seen, students going to great grad school, like I said, working on very diversified roles. It's been a true pleasure seeing their journey, as an informed individuals. So that's my take on that, and I would like the panel to share their thoughts and how they have seen their children's postgraduate success.
So we've got like different perspectives here. So we've got Ms. Khan, who's been part of the Power Division. We've got Ms. Jamal, who is in the academia. We've got Dr. Khaled, who is part of this ever-growing pharmaceutical industry. And then we have Ms. Naqvi, who's keeping an eye on everyone. I would like to request Dr. Khaled, what are your thoughts about that? Because obviously you induct a lot of fresh graduates in the industry that you're working in. So what kind of talent are you looking at? Like Ms. Khan also mentioned, and Ms. Naqvi also mentioned about the fact that we are still caught up with that bubble, that we believe that, we do a business degree and we are sorted, right? That is what we need to survive in the market we live in today. But that's not true anymore. Like Ms. Khan said that, the world is changing so rapidly that a degree, an isolated education is not going to help. So, sir, what are your thoughts about that?
sincerely agree with whatever Ms. Khan was saying, and exactly the same is the phenomena, same is the thought of everybody who is in the corporate world. Frankly speaking, I just agree with I was actually just coming upstairs while I was listening to some of the panelists, and they were saying that our students or our generation, the youth, they have stopped the reasoning. Reasoning is totally out of their full context in which they speak right now, whenever we talk about our young kids right now. And in the corporate world, if you ask me what kind of young professionals we look at and what kind of particular abilities or particular qualities we see in the young aspirant professionals, and what we generally see is that the lack of holistic view of the world, outer world. Most of the students, most of the people who come to us for the jobs or where we do interview almost daily, I do interview almost 5 or 6 people daily, almost, and this is how my job is right now. And I see one of the things is that all the students who are coming from the traditional educational background, they have really a tunnel view of the world. You would tell them, you ask them any question, they will be able to tell you specifically about their specialization on. If you ask them something about the outer world, something different from out of their field, and they will be done. They will be totally speechless. They won't have anything to say. They don't have to share about what is happening in the world around them. Just if for example, just ask them one simple question. If you do know any intellectual of Pakistan currently, which one you will name it? I haven't seen a single candidate in the last 3 or 4 months to name a single intellectual of Pakistan. So this is the kind of silos in which they are living right now. And the exposure to the outer world and the kind of the liberal arts and the kind of exposure that Habib University and its curriculum is giving to the students is entirely different from the traditional education system. And that's what I saw, that kind of change I saw in my both daughters. I saw that kind of a tangible change in both personality, and they are 2 different personalities. Both my daughters have altogether different personalities, but I can see that tangible impact on their personality in their own way. They're absorbing the things from this curriculum, the diversity of the curriculum, the scope of the curriculum, and the kind of activities and the kind of the support system they get it from Habib. And it is immense change that I see in them. And that's exactly what I want my kids to have, that kind of exposure. Because once they grow up in the professional life, they need to have that holistic view of the world. If they don't have this one, they won't survive in this one. There's a really changing world where unless a person has that kind of diverse approach or the, holistic approach to the things, to the problems, they won't be successful in it. Frankly speaking, would you believe it? Whenever I ask, it's a general question normally whenever you take interviews, one of the questions that you ask all the candidates, it's said, usually the HR says, you ask this question, what are your hobbies? And would you believe 90% of the cases, they don't have any hobbies. They don't have any exposure to outing. The only hobby they will tell us, spending time with the family. This was the typical answer that I will get from anybody. And this is all young graduates who are coming out of these traditional education system. They are churning out these kind of stuff.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid.
Actually, can I just add here, when you mentioned hobbies, interestingly, that's another thing that Habib did, with Myra, while she did social development and policy. One of the things that really interested her was music a lot. And when she even considered going abroad, she said, I can at least study music over there as an academic, other than doing any other major. Luckily, at Habib, they introduced a music minor. So after she joined, so while she did social development and policy, she also ended up minoring in South Asian music. So she used to play an instrument, she used to play the guitar, but she got the opportunity to learn the sitar at Habib University with Ustad Sajid. And it's been wonderful because she's taken on that instrument and she loves that. And it has introduced her to South Asian music and rags and, just the appreciation of culture and music and, whatever you have to offer. I think all of this really develops an individual and a personality. So she got that opportunity at Habib as well.
I had a similar experience with my younger daughter. She also had the music minor, and the kind of interest she showed in flute and other stuff, and it was very interesting, very encouraging for me to see that.
Thank you, Dr. Khaled. Thank you, Ms. Khan. Can't agree more. We need to have opportunity where, students can diversify their academic experience instead of just limiting them within one discipline. So like you said, there are a lot of minors that they can pick and choose from. So continuing with my question, what are your thoughts about it, Ms. Jamal?
Ms. Khan referred to the opportunities and the support that was provided in a question before this one. And I would just like to present an extension of that at Habib University, the 4 years that you're here, you do not require to go anywhere else for any kind of support. Whether it is related to your academics, whether it is related to your careers, because I have seen students from other universities struggling, going from pillar to post to actually inquire what's going to happen next, what's next for me, what else can I do, where do I go, who do I talk to? And that was one area that was completely covered at Habib University. I don't remember ever sitting with my daughter, even today after she's graduated, trying to guide her as to where she needs to apply, why she needs to apply at this university, and which particular field of academia she needs to pick and choose. There was one point of time when she wanted to change her majors as well. I was okay with it, but the university program was okay with it as well. That's the extent of support that Habib University gives you. And her choice of subject, she changed her minor later on. The fact that I was just yesterday asking her how many courses at the liberal board have you actually taken up, and then she counted and we ended up counting some 15. Believe me, this was what she loved to study. She loved to study racism and slavery. She loved to study literature and philosophy, and she was still pursuing her computer science degree. She is now, holistic is such a randomly used word, but believe me, nobody or hardly people understand the real meaning of the word holistic. We use it as a mantra, as I said earlier, holistic, and we feel that we've achieved some great feats here. This is something Habib University has to be really proud of. They are really, really shaping minds by allowing students to study what they wish to. It is a curriculum which is student-centered because students can actually pick and choose what they can study. Really pick and choose. And what she has ended up with is an undergrad degree of computer science, but she's now working as a business analyst, and she's loving it. I don't think anywhere else, any other student in any other university, I'm not generalizing here, but generally, no other university can claim that fame. It is because of this support that you have at Habib University, whether it's mindfulness, whether it's taking care of your physical health, your mental health, whether it's support, providing support to your friends. I know that each and every batchmate of hers has a job right now. So when she comes back to tell me that all my friends have jobs, I cannot but wonder, are we actually in Pakistan? I mean, people say that there is a problem of young graduates acquiring jobs, and these are not, these jobs are by no way to be belittled. They're being paid well. the challenges that they have to face, and they love every challenge. They love every struggle, and that is what Habib University. Yes, she has lost 10 pounds, but that's fine. I know that it's all worth it. It's really all worth it.
Thank you, Ms. Jamal. Ms. Naqvi, what are your thoughts about it? Kind of, you were a journalist. I think you still are. It's not just one topic that you ponder upon. The different things that you work on can be, social issues, can be power issues, and all of that. So, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, one of the first things that I'd like to say is, yes, syllabus and syllabi, everything is very important, and the books and the teaching. But I personally feel that it's the ambience and the environment that a university provides that puts children into that kind of a struggle to do well, and not to do well, by getting A stars and A grades, that typical kind of rat race that we have these days, but to be able to understand what the issue is about. I mean, I must confess over here that my daughters are very, independent in the sense that when we talk about, okay, so why don't you do this? And they say, I don't have an interest in this, sorry, but this is the interest that I have, and I have I have ample and enabling environment at the university where I can pull it off. And as difficult, subjects as they were studying, one of my daughters was studying literature as a minor and doing social development and policy as a major, and she loves literature to death. She loves it so much, and she got it. She was able to pull it off, and she got a good grade also. So I personally feel that it's the enabling environment that the university has been able to give these kids, so well, that they groom themselves. We don't have to, because university kids, in any case, should be old enough to take their decisions and to do things that they want to do and to prove, well, not go haywire. And I personally feel the kids that I see, my daughters, they were just, two of them were promoted in a year, and I was surprised. And they said that, I happen to know people where they're working, and they said that Habib, the kids that come from Habib University, they work hard towards the conviction that they have, and that they don't work for a job as such. They work towards a conviction, which I personally feel is great, because that's where you work hard, that's where your interest is, that's where your passion is, and that's where you excel then. So, thanks to, obviously with the support that, my co-colleague panelists said, it's also the enabling environment that these kids get, and a liberal kind of enabling environment. It's not just like, you're studying maths, just study maths. You will get a good, if you develop an interest in music, you will get it from 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 used to be. Is he still there at the university?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And you will get a very good, offering there from him. He will teach you music on the lines of mathematics. So, and what a wonderful thing that is. So you're not just studying mathematics, you're also studying music, and you're also developing an interest over there. So it's not just coming, just because you want to do music. It's also because it's making sense to you, right? So that's the enabling environment that I am so happy that my kids were able to sort of be a part of.
Thank you so much. I can't agree more, and I believe that enabling environment is very important for these kids to have, to learn how to actually approach a problem, right? Think for the solution themselves, not feed them solutions, right?
One little point that I'd also like to make over here is that all three of my daughters, you know how we, sometimes cajole children, especially girls in our environment, where we say, we'll do it for you, don't worry, we're there for you always. And they always used to turn around and say, we can do it, don't worry about it, we'll do it ourselves. And that's the kind of support, as we are talking about, and an enabling environment that especially girls are getting, which is so great. To me, it's so great. I mean, we're not making them machines. We're not putting them into the job market just to earn money, but to also think and to do good for people. Like one of my daughters, she studied communications and design from Habib University, and she ended up in Habib Bank. And when she spoke to the interviewers over there, they said, "Where are you coming from? Habib University, you're the second batch. We don't know your university at all." And she goes, "Well, try me. Maybe I'll be good." And she started working for the branchless banking sector department over there, innovations, inclusion and innovations department. And she did pretty well over there. For them to think that, yes, they were talking about 𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 at that time, and they said, okay, there's someone from Habib University, let's try her out, but it's going to be only 3 months and maybe you'll be out of here. And she said, that's fine. And all these 𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 graduates were. So I'm sorry if I'm using 𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 and I'm not belittling them at all. But yeah, 𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 has always been there. IB has always been there. But just to, inch that, just open that door an inch and say, okay, let's see how you do it. And she was, I'm not saying that she was my daughter or anything, but she was able to make a mark as a graduate from Habib University. I think that's a great thing to do, because the job sector, I personally feel they have so much, they don't even have the time to test out or to try out, new universities. Or my other daughter, she works for TCF, and she was the first one to be taken over there, one of the first ones, because they thought that we haven't tried Habib University graduates, and social development policy is all, fine and everything, but what if it's not the best, bet? And the bet turned out to be good. They got more people from Habib University. So the first and the second batches, I think they've done a wonderful job. And that environment, that support has already, shown. Two batches is nothing, 5 to 10 batches, and then you start realizing, okay, they're worth something. Let's give them a try. So I think that's quite a feather in the cap, isn't it?
One thing that you really like about Habib University, Ms. Khan?
I think the product that has come out of there is something that is really a joy for all of us. She's confident, she's well informed, she's articulate, and I think she has now developed a lifelong desire to learn, and that is just beautiful.
Thank you. Ms. Naqvi?
My take is, the one thing that I really appreciate is the enabling environment, because that has really groomed the kids, and also with values. They are good kids. It's not just my daughters, their friends also, and the friends of their friends. They're all good kids, and they have their heart in the right place, which means that they've seen some good things happen around them. And some of them are broken kids. They've come from broken homes also, but they've groomed over here, and they've come out really strong and passionate, and having a conviction about themselves. So I think that enabling environment is tremendous. It's great.
Thank you, Ms. Naqvi. Dr. Khalid?
As far as I'm concerned, I guess Habib has, if in one-liner, so Habib has contributed a lot in inculcating that kind of broader perspective to them in their mindset, in their thought process, to everything that is happening around. That broader perspective, inculcating that kind of thing, that is the most positive thing for me, which I think that will help us in the rest of their life.
Thank you. Ms. Jamal.
I would rather put it this way. I thank Habib University for its vision. A girl coming out of this environment, the general middle class environment, where you've seen your parents making a place for themselves through sheer hard work. And she knows that there is no other way but hard work. And Habib University has lightened up her path. She has so many options now. She has so many ways that she can move towards. And she's full of ideas. She's full of hope. And what else can you give a child in today's world, in Pakistan, but hope and conviction that I am going to be a part of a better Pakistan. That's what, it might sound cliched. It is probably cliched, but I'm so proud when I look at Hiba and I see all of that. So I just thank Habib University for that.
Thank you, Mohsin, and thank you, everyone. From my side, it was a pleasure hosting everyone here, understanding your perspective for your children. Gave us a lot of point of views and, understanding, how content it might feel, to see your children's journey post-graduation. And I thank everyone for sharing their thoughts. This has been a very informative session, and I'm sure our audiences who will eventually listen to this will get inspired by the educational experience that Habib has to offer.